Hey guys, welcome back to another Q&A. It's been a while since I put one out because I was extremely busy this spring. All the work came at once and it's been really hard to catch up and make time for another Q&A. Anyway, I want to welcome all my new subscribers and I want to thank you guys for stopping by today to watch this video. Now for my first question today, a lot of people often ask me what's the importance of greasing the bar tip on my chainsaw? Well, the importance of doing that is that it's going to make your bar last a lot longer. You can see here in this bar there's a small hole to insert a grease gun. To grease it you can use a small grease gun like this. You just basically insert it into the hole and squirt a few squirts. And you can also use an older grease gun like this one. You just put it straight over the hole and then press down. I've already greased this one and you can see the grease is coming out. This will provide good lubrication for that spinning sprocket at the end. Now if you look closely at other bars you can see there are small grease holes in them. And on some bars like this one there's only a grease hole on this one side. On this side here there is none. So I do highly recommend that you grease the tip of your bar. It's going to make it last a lot longer. In my next question somebody was asking me where can I buy a feeler gauge? Well, you can buy a feeler gauge pretty well at any auto parts store or hardware store. Also, if you just look online, there's hundreds of stores that sell feeler gauges. For those of you guys who aren't sure what it's used for, it's mainly used to set points and valve lash on engines. And by the way, a feeler gauge is a must-have tool for the small engine mechanic. The next question I got is from a customer and it's in regards to Stihl trimmers. The problem he's having is that the whole head came right off of the trimmer while he was using it. Now he's wondering, is there a way to go in there and fix that and put it back in there, or do you have to replace the whole shaft? Well, the answer is if that happens, just replace the whole shaft. It's just basically held in there by some kind of clip or something like that, and it doesn't look very serviceable to me. Basically all I'm going to do is just replace it with this shaft over here. I had this in my junk, and here's a closer look at the spare one. You can see it's all part of the shaft. And then I'm just basically going to take the head off this shaft over here and stick it on this one. Now another question I got in regards to Stihl trimmers are the carburetors. The questions I often get asked is it worth to put in a new carb kit in the carburetor? I've replaced the carburetor kit and it still won't run properly. Well, the answer to replacing the carb kit, sometimes it is worth doing that, but oftentimes it isn't. The reason for that is sometimes these carburetors go bad altogether. It doesn't matter what you do to them. You can clean them, put in a new carb kit, and your machine still won't run properly. Here's what I suggest. Just go buy a new carburetor. They're fairly cheap now. It's a brand new Stihl carb. It's not an aftermarket carb. And to give you an example, if you went and bought the carb kit here in Canada, the kit just itself would be around $20. And just by replacing the kit, as I mentioned, it's not a guarantee that it's going to resolve the problem if the carb is defective. And for most people, it's probably easier to just replace the whole carburetor instead of just replacing the kit in it. And this carburetor fits on a lot of 2-cycle Stihl trimmers. In recent years, the carburetors have really come down for different equipment, so that's why I recommend to people when they get a lot of problems is just replace the whole carburetor. And also the same principle when it comes to carburetors will apply to Honda lawnmower engines. Their carburetors are very cheap, well, especially in the United States. You can buy a carb for like 20 bucks or less. So why bother even trying to clean the carb? Sometimes it's cheaper for the customer to just replace the whole carburetor instead of messing around trying to clean it and still have it not run properly after. Now I try to save carburetors as much as I can, but if I clean them once or twice, especially in the ultrasonic cleaner, and the machine still doesn't run, I just throw in a new carburetor right away. And sometimes people ask me, is the carburetor on my lawnmower adjustable when it comes to the air-fuel mixture? Well, the answer to that is no. On all modern lawnmowers, you cannot adjust the carburetor. In another question, a YouTuber asked me, how do I know if the belts on my lawn tractor need to be replaced? Well, if you look at your belts and you see cracks like this, it's time to replace them, especially if you see damage like this on your belt. Now this belt here may last for a while, but if you want to do preventive maintenance, I would suggest that you change it even if it's cracked like this. Now this was a belt for the lawnmower deck on the lawn tractor. What happened to this belt is that it's not as wide as it was when it was new, and therefore was slipping on the pulleys on the deck. So when you would engage the deck to mow the grass, the blades wouldn't spin as fast as they should, and if you went in deep grass, they would stop spinning altogether. Now these are just some of the reasons why you may have to replace the belt on your lawn tractor, and it goes to show that even if they look good, sometimes they need to be replaced due to stretching. Now since we're in grass trimming season, people often ask me, what do you mix your fuel at? Well, I mix my fuel at 45:1. That's 100 milliliters of oil like this to 4.5 liters of fuel. Now if you want the imperial measurements for this, it would be pretty well 3.4 ounces to around a gallon of fuel. Even if the equipment recommends 50:1, I like to give it a bit more oil by going 45:1. It just gives your engine a little bit more oil to lubricate itself, and I've never blown any of my 2-cycle engines that way. To end off the video today, I'm going to show you guys a quick tip. If you have a problem with your equipment and you suspect it's bad gas, drain the gas in an appropriate container, then leave the equipment out in the sun with the cap off. This will make the tank dry right up, and then you're sure there's no moisture left in there whatsoever. You can always do the same thing with the carburetor as well. If you think there's water in it, take it apart and leave it out in the sun to dry up, then put it back together, and if that's the problem, you should be okay. Now sometimes when you get water in your carb or ethanol problems, you may have to replace the carb kit. So this will end off today's Q&A. Thanks for watching, guys, and have yourselves a great weekend.